Chosen one. He stole your identity. He is stealing your blessings. This video brings a divine spotlight to something you were never supposed to ignore. Someone tried to step into what was rightfully yours. Not just your identity, not just your influence, but the very blessings God assigned to your name. But what was hidden is being exposed. God is calling it out now. Your stolen light is returning. Your divine fingerprint can't be erased, and the blessings attached to your spirit are coming back in full force. Watch this video until the very end and write your warmest wishes in the comments. And write Amen along with the number 99, because this is a sacred chapter where the wishes of the heart are being lifted and energized into the universe. A moment like this stirs the divine order. It attracts restitution. It awakens lost promises. God sees your written faith, and the shift begins the moment you move in agreement, now chosen one like this video. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and let's begin. He knew what he was doing. He watched your rise. He saw the way the light glowed over you. Even when you didn't know how powerful your presence was, he could sense it. He tried to copy your ways, mirror your moves, and slide into what he thought was an unguarded role. Your role. He wasn't just admiring you. He was studying you like a thief studies a home they plan to rob. And with one calculated move, he tried to take what wasn't his. But this isn't just a case of someone copying your outer actions. No, it's deeper than that. This is spiritual identity theft. He wasn't just imitating your personality or your style. He tried to absorb your purpose, cloak himself in your calling, and access the rewards that were designed for your DNA. And for a time, it looked like he was succeeding. Things that should have opened for you seemed delayed. People that should have honored you overlooked you. Spaces that should have welcomed you closed their doors. But behind the scenes, God was not silent. You are marked not with ink, not with fame, but with divine proof. Your soul has a signature. Your spirit has a stamp. And no matter how closely someone tries to replicate you, there's a realm where duplication fails. The unseen world knows who you are, and heaven has protocols. It doesn't matter what's been stolen. What matters is what God is about to restore. What was forged is about to fall apart. What was falsely worn is about to be torn down. And what was rightfully yours is coming back. There was a moment, you remember it, where your name started ringing in strange places. People you'd never met seemed to know things about you. Opportunities that you should have walked into were handed to someone else. The energy was off. Something didn't add up. And you felt it in your bones like a spiritual tug, like your identity was speaking through the void. That's mine. That's my destiny being hijacked. And still, you stayed quiet. You observed, you prayed, you waited. But God was not sleeping. You see, there's something sacred about a chosen one. You weren't just given gifts, you were given an assignment. And with that assignment came blessings with your name encrypted into them. Every blessing has a lock, and every lock requires the true key, your spiritual essence. He can wear your clothes, he can try to speak like you. But the vault of heaven only opens when your voice reaches it. Not an imitation, not a duplicate, only your authentic self. And while it seemed like the blessings were being stolen, in truth, they were being preserved. God doesn't release blessings to counterfeits. He allows them to taste delay, not fulfillment. He lets them mimic the surface, but the depth remains unreachable. The real power was always held back for you, for the true bearer of the assignment. And now the cycle is reversing. What was stolen is making its way back. Not in bits, not in fragments, but in multiplied waves. This is the season of exposure. And not just exposure of lies, but revelation of truth. The one who tried to steal your identity is about to be publicly misaligned. What once seemed like favor for them will now feel like confusion. What looked like increase will crumble into questions because false identity cannot sustain divine blessings. It always falls under the weight of truth, and the truth is you carry the anointing. You are the vessel, and God is clearing the way for you to rise unblocked. Something sacred is unfolding. The divine is not just restoring what was taken. He is upgrading what was withheld because you were silent. You didn't fight dirty. You didn't curse them. You didn't retaliate. You kept your hands clean and your soul open. And now heaven is responding, not just with justice, but with acceleration. You won't pick up where you left off. You'll pick up ahead of where you should have been because God honors the one who walks with integrity, even when injustice strikes. It wasn't random. The attack was specific. The timing was calculated because he saw what was coming to you. He tried to intercept the prophecy, but he forgot one thing. You are chosen, not selected by man, but appointed by the divine. And what God ordains, no imitation can override. There's power in your name. There's favor in your path. And every detour he created will be swallowed by the rerouting hand of God. You're being positioned again in perfect alignment. The strange delays, they weren't accidents. They were divine routes to protect what was pure, to preserve what was precious. And now the delays have expired. God is blowing the trumpet. The spiritual alarms are sounding. What was hidden in shadows is stepping into light. And the world is about to see not just what was stolen, but who the rightful owner is. You, the original, the chosen, the destined one. Stay anchored. Because while the exposure is unfolding, so is your restoration. This isn't just about getting back what was taken. It's about receiving what was never released because someone else was standing in your place. Now that the imposter is being removed, the gate is opening, the dam is breaking, the heavens are pouring. Not with imitation, not with confusion, but with clarity, certainty, and divine flow. This is the beginning of the turnaround, the moment God flips the script and rewrites your chapter. The page that was torn out is being rewritten in gold. The signature of heaven is being stamped again in full view. And everything that carried your essence, your voice, your favor, your calling is coming back to you sevenfold. Not because you chased it, but because it's yours. It always was. Get ready. What you felt was missing is returning. What was delayed is being released, and what tried to steal your light will now witness your rise. Chosen one, stay awake. God has spoken and his word never returns empty. He thought he could stand in your shoes, but he never knew what it cost you to walk in them. He assumed the blessing was just something to wear like a costume. But what he didn't know is that every breakthrough you're walking into came through a process soaked in silence, prayer, battles, and tears that didn't leave your face for hours. He stole the look, but not the legacy. He mimicked the surface, but he never carried the soul of it. And God watched it all and waited for the right moment to flip the mirror. Now the mirror is turning, and what he sees will shake him, because it was never about the outer reflection. It was always about the divine imprint stamped in the spiritual realm. That mark, that signature, that code embedded in your light can't be faked. And now that light is starting to expose the shadows. He thought he could dim your radiance by stepping in your place. But the truth is, the moment he did, everything started to misalign in his life. Because blessings built for someone else will always break the hands that try to hold them unlawfully. What he tried to wear didn't fit. What he tried to walk in collapsed beneath his feet because he wasn't chosen. He was watching the chosen and trying to steal what comes only through divine assignment. And you were quiet. You were aware. You felt the tug. You sensed something was off. You could feel your spiritual scent on someone else's path, and it made you question, why is my name not opening what it should? Why does my energy feel misplaced? But now the answer is here. Someone was trying to walk through your gates with stolen keys. But heaven doesn't honor stolen access. Heaven honors authenticity, and the protocol of the kingdom is being reactivated. The spiritual system is rejecting the fraud. He cannot walk any further on what doesn't belong to him. The alarms are ringing, the system is ejecting him, and your name, your real name, is being called again. Loud, bold, clear, with favor, with divine endorsement, with blessing trailing behind it like a royal parade. You see, in the spiritual world, identity is currency, and yours has value, eternal value, generational value. And when someone tries to counterfeit it, it doesn't just cost them, it triggers a response from God. Because your identity isn't yours alone. It's tied to destiny, legacy, and future blessings that affect others. So when he tried to hijack your identity, he didn't just interfere with your blessings, he interrupted a divine timeline. And God doesn't let that go unchecked. So now it's being corrected, restored, redeemed. Every part of you that felt displaced, every dream that got delayed, every prayer that felt unanswered, it's shifting. And it's not just a quiet return, it's a glorious one. Public, prophetic, powerful. The very people who were tricked by the imitation will now be awakened by your reappearance. You don't need to announce yourself. Your anointing will do it for you. Your presence will fill the space again, and no one will mistake the real for the fake ever again. What happened wasn't to hurt you, it was to prove to everyone. Watching that your blessing isn't random. It's not luck, it's not personality, it's not something that can be copied, bought, or faked. It's divine inheritance, and when God gives it to someone, it's sealed. No one else can thrive in it. That's why the moment he tried to wear it, the fruit dried up. Because the soil only responds to the truths where you are that one. And the field is opening again. Your harvest hasn't been lost. It's been protected. And now that the wrong hands are being removed from the soil, the seeds are blooming in front of your eyes. In the exact place where you felt overlooked, where your voice was dismissed, where your essence was stolen. The recovery begins now, not in pieces, but in waves. Because God isn't just bringing things back to balance, he's tipping the scale in your favor. The confusion is clearing, the veil is lifting, and the one who thought they could carry your crown is realizing the weight of it. It was never meant for them. That's why it feels too heavy. That's why things started collapsing. Because when you try to live in a lie, the truth eventually breaks the frame. And your truth, chosen one, has returned with force, with fire, with favor. And nothing can deny it anymore. The whispers have started. The ones who followed the imposter are now questioning everything. Why isn't it working like it used to? Why does it feel off now? Because it was never real. It was borrowed light. It was stolen glow. And now the original flame, your flame, is lighting up again. And this time, it's unmissable. You've been silent long enough. The season of hiding is over. The disguise has cracked. And heaven is putting you back where you belong. You didn't lose anything. You were just being preserved until the wrong ones walked away. Now that the curtain has fallen, the stage is clear, and your name is being called louder than ever before. This is your moment. Not just of return, but of reward. What he tried to take was never his to begin with, and you don't need revenge. You have restoration. You don't need to prove yourself. God already approved you, and this approval is louder than any lie, stronger than any imitation, and higher than any fraud. The spiritual courtroom has ruled, and the verdict is final. You are the rightful one, and the blessings, they're coming with interest. This is divine recompense. The kind of restoration that makes up for the lost time, the stolen seasons, and the silent years. You won't recognize your life in a few weeks, because what was locked is opening, what was drained is refilling, what was stolen is being returned in upgraded form, not just because it's fair, but because it's time. And God, he's not just a witness to this moment. He's the one orchestrating it. The same God who watched you get robbed is the same God watching you rise now. The same God who let it be exposed is the one making sure you're exalted. And he doesn't miss, he doesn't forget. And he never lets the real go unrewarded. You're being celebrated in the spirit, honored by heaven. The angels are already rejoicing because justice is not coming, it's here. And you, chosen one, are stepping into a chapter where your name shines again. Untouched, unduplicated, undeniable. He thought he was smart, clever even. He thought no one would notice as he slipped into your place, wore your essence like a jacket, and tried to speak with your voice. He believed no one would question it, that he could keep receiving attention, benefits, and opportunities that weren't designed for him. But the thing about stolen identity in the spiritual realm is this. The longer it's worn, the louder it begins to malfunction. Heaven starts to shake. The atmosphere begins to reject it. And now everything is rejecting the counterfeit because the time has come for the original to rise again. This isn't just about someone copying you. It's about someone spiritually interfering with your divine order. Someone who knew just enough about your story to walk in it without paying the cost. Someone who studied your light but never went through your shadow. Someone who took the sound of your destiny but never earned the vibration. They tried to hold the keys without carrying the cross. But now the realm that matters, the divine is releasing a judgment they can't block. It's happening now. The disconnection, the reversal, the shift. What was out of balance is being brought back into divine alignment. You may not have seen it with your physical eyes yet, but your soul has already picked up the change. The weight you carried is lifting. The fog around your mind is clearing. The invisible walls that surrounded your breakthrough are falling because the one who sat in your seat without permission is being unseated. And when God moves like this, it doesn't just restore, it reveals. The whole story begins to come out. Suddenly, people around you begin to understand. The ones who were confused begin to see. Those who turned away from you during your hidden season start turning back, realizing they misread the script. But God allowed it because He wanted your next rise to be witnessed, not whispered about. The one who took what wasn't his is going to feel the unraveling. The fake confidence will crack. The stolen success will begin to crumble. Because heaven doesn't bless what is hijacked. And when someone reaches for what was never meant for them, they don't gain. They activate collapse. Not because God is cruel, but because God is just, and your justice is being handed down now. Not from people, but from the throne. Do you feel it? The atmosphere around your name is changing. The resistance is breaking. The approval that was temporarily misdirected is being rerouted to the rightful source, you. And this time, it's coming with clarity. There won't be any more confusion about who you are. There won't be any more energy leaks, any more missed moments, any more open doors for those who want to take your place. God is closing every back door and sealing your life with His mark again. You were never forgotten. You were never truly blocked. What happened wasn't your defeat. It was your divine setup. Because when identity is stolen, God doesn't just return what was taken. He multiplies it. He magnifies the testimony. He makes the comeback louder than the theft. And your comeback, it's being written in bold. He may have tried to wear your crown, but he never earned the oil that made it sit right. He may have walked in rooms pretending to carry your essence, but the vibration of the room always knows when the real has entered. And you, chosen one, are now entering again. This time, not as a hopeful, not as a seeker, but as the rightful heir. The one who was formed for this, breathed into for this, anointed for this. What tried to delay you is now launching you. What stood in your way is now bowing to your presence. And the very places that didn't recognize your name before are about to open in rapid response because heaven has stamped your return with urgency. This is not a gradual shift. It's a divine route, an immediate course correction, and you're walking into it with full favor. You don't need to fight for attention. You don't need to explain your absence. What God is doing in this moment speaks louder than words. The winds of justice are moving things on your behalf. The hands of God are rearranging everything from spiritual timelines to earthly manifestations. Just to make sure you don't miss another blessing with your name on it. And let this be clear, you are not going back to where you were. You're not returning to the place of confusion. You're moving forward into a higher place, a more secure realm, a more expansive version of yourself. Because the lesson in this wasn't just about exposure, it was about elevation. And now your elevation has begun. What was hidden behind the scenes is now surfacing in your favor. Conversations are shifting. Contracts are aligning. Connections are forming. And while the enemy thought he'd locked you out, what he didn't realize is that God was building a bigger door. One only you can walk through. The blessings coming won't need to be fought for. They will recognize you because the vibration of your soul matches the sound of this season. This isn't a recovery, it's a revelation. The revealing of who you really are. Not the version the world watered down, not the version someone tried to impersonate, but the divine original. The one God shaped with precision. the one who was always meant to carry this glory. And no thief, no fraud, no shadow figure can take it from you anymore. You were meant to shine, meant to lead, meant to be honored, meant to carry wealth, wisdom, and divine wonder in ways that shift nations. And anyone who tried to stand in your light is about to be humbled by your comeback. Because this is no ordinary moment. This is a supernatural reawakening. You're rising and it's irreversible. So don't be surprised when people start saying they always believed in you. Don't be shocked when doors swing open without you having to knock twice. Don't be overwhelmed when things flow with such ease it feels like a dream. It's not a dream, it's the reality God had stored for you. And now it's being unlocked with fire. He tried to stop your rise by stealing your identity, but all he did was speed it up. Because while he was busy faking your path, God was perfecting your power. And that power, it's about to speak for itself, loudly, consistently, without effort, and it will call everything that belongs to you back to you. It was never about him. Not truly. He was a distraction, a shadow, a delay tactic dressed in imitation. But the story was never about the thief. It's always been about the one from whom he stole. You, the original, the one God marked before time. The one whose identity cannot be erased no matter how hard someone tries to copy the reflection. What God placed in you cannot be duplicated because it's not just talent, it's essence. It's not just appearance, it's encoded design. Your gifts, your spiritual signature, your divine frequency. These things live in the depth of your being. And when someone tries to mimic that from the outside, the entire spiritual realm begins to respond. It shakes. It groans. It rearranges itself to correct the order. He entered a realm where he had no permission. He activated a role he was never assigned. And at first, it may have looked like it worked. People paid attention. Platforms gave him space. Blessings seemed to hover around him. But those blessings weren't truly his. They were misplaced. And misplaced blessings have expiration dates when handled by the wrong hands. It always collapses because God's order cannot be bypassed permanently. And now that collapse has begun. Quiet at first, but growing louder every hour. The path he thought he could walk is turning into thorns. The recognition he thought he'd gained is turning into isolation. The applause he chased is fading into silence. Because when someone takes your divine seat, heaven removes its covering from them. And the spiritual world stops working in their favor. Meanwhile, something else is happening. Something holy, something undeniable. You're rising. Not because you fought to prove your identity, but because your essence could no longer be ignored. The atmosphere is responding to your return. Doors are reattaching your name to rooms. Blessings are magnetically gravitating back to you. The delays are unraveling. The confusion is clearing. And your true voice is rising like a trumpet. There's no more pretending, no more silence, no more wondering. You've been marked again in spirit and in timing. And this time, nothing and no one can impersonate your destiny. The alignment is divine. The timing is strategic. The reemergence is sacred. This is not a repeat of the past. This is the moment that was prophesied before you ever knew what was stolen. Chosen one. God is moving everything into position now. It's rapid. It's holy. It's designed for impact. Your spiritual records are being corrected. Your identity in heaven is reactivated. Your path is now clear. And every delay caused by the fraud is being reversed with supernatural momentum. This is not justice. This is launch. This is ascension. The throne room of God has released a new decree. Restore what was stolen. Return what was hijacked. Release what was delayed. This command is echoing through realms. Angels are carrying out the order. Systems are recalibrating. People are being redirected. Resources are being rerouted. And every hidden blessing is now on its way to your rightful hands. He tried to hold your favor, but favor doesn't stay in false containers. It spills. It vanishes. It disappears from the imitator and returns to the one it belongs to. And you're not just receiving back what was taken, you're stepping into a higher version of what was originally designed. Because God doesn't just restore, He increases, He upgrades, He multiplies in silence, and then unveils it all at once. And make no mistake, the unveiling is now. People will begin to ask where you've been. They'll say they knew something was missing but couldn't explain it because they were applauding the image, but their spirit couldn't connect with it. And now, when your presence arrives again, they'll feel the original current, the undeniable resonance, the truth in full form. The places where your name was whispered in confusion will now be filled with clarity. The rooms where He walked with your essence will now shut Him out and open for you. Not because you begged, not because you chased, but because heaven has made a correction. And when heaven moves, the earth must follow. There will be no confusion this time. No blurred lines, no delays. Every blessing that was meant for you is arriving with acceleration. The wealth is returning. The platforms are aligning. The divine connections are awakening. The timing is locking into place, and nothing the imitator did will stop what God has already reactivated in your name. And as you walk back into alignment, know this. You don't have to carry bitterness. God saw it all, and He is repaying it all. Not with vengeance, but with reward. Not with rage, but with restoration. You didn't lose the years. They've been counted, stored, multiplied, and now they're being poured back with interest. The version of you walking forward now is stronger, sharper, and more awakened than ever before. Let Him watch. Let them wonder. Let the silence confuse the ones who once believed the lie. Because what's coming for you next won't need validation. It will be too powerful to question. Your name is about to carry a weight it's never carried before. Not because you changed it, but because God just wrote it again in heaven's ink. He didn't just try to take your name. He tried to take your prophecy. But prophecy doesn't die when it's delayed. It waits. It hovers. It scans the atmosphere for the rightful voice. And when that voice rises again, the prophecy activates. And that's what's happening now. The vision, the dreams, the calling, the wealth, all of it is locking into alignment. The spiritual system has found its rightful owner again. No thief can hold what God encrypted into your soul. No mimic can sustain what you were destined to manifest. And no enemy can stand in the way of what's already been sealed by the Creator Himself. This is your activation moment. Your return is not just seen. It's felt in rooms, in dimensions, in frequencies. You've stepped back into your seat. And the crown fits perfectly. The next season is not about proving. It's about producing. It's about flowing. It's about being in sync with the divine rhythm of your life again. What was stolen didn't stop you. It shaped you. What was mimicked didn't break you. It trained you. And what was lost wasn't wasted. It was rerouted for greater glory. And now the spotlight is shifting. The divine spotlight. The kind that doesn't fade. The kind that doesn't lie. The kind that only shines when truth is present. And you are standing in that light now fully, powerfully, undeniably. Let the blessing flow. Let the path clear. Let the thief watch what cannot be stolen anymore. You didn't need a warning. Your spirit felt the shift long before your mind understood it. You felt the displacement, the draining of divine attention, the strange silence in places where your name once echoed. And now, what once felt like loss is being reframed. It wasn't loss. It was misdirection caused by someone pretending to be you. Someone who stepped into your energy field, knowing it didn't belong to them, hoping the universe wouldn't notice. But the universe always knows, and God, He never stops watching. He tried to exist in your frequency. But it broke him because divine assignments are wired for the original soul. He thought he could hold your position, but he didn't know what it cost to earn it. The spiritual weight started pressing down on him, not because he wasn't intelligent, but because he wasn't you. The heavens began to recoil from him. The flow stopped. The favor dried up because God doesn't pour oil on someone pretending to carry your crown. And now God is making a statement. Not a whisper, not a nudge, a statement. The tables are turning so visibly that no one can ignore it. The imposter who tried to carry your identity is being exposed. The places that praised him are becoming silent. The opportunities that once opened for him are closing because those doors were encoded with your name. And doors that don't match your essence don't stay open for long. This is your divine homecoming, not to where you were before, but to where you were always meant to be. What was stolen was only the surface, the outer layers, but your essence untouchable, your true calling protected. And now it's time to reintroduce yourself to the world, not with explanation, not with justification, but with undeniable presence. The glow is returning. The weight of glory is sitting back on your shoulders, and you're not fighting for it. You're flowing with it because it was never meant to be earned through effort. It was meant to be activated through truth. And now that truth has caught up with the lie. The entire timeline is adjusting. What was locked is opening. What was misaligned is correcting. And what was stolen is being returned sevenfold with divine increase. He tried to delay your rise, but in the process, he triggered a chain reaction in heaven. Your name has been spoken in divine places. Your identity has been rewritten on scrolls. Your access has been upgraded, not just restored, upgraded. Because God doesn't just give you back what was taken. He gives you what should have been if no interference had ever occurred. And now you walk with new fire, a refined authority. The spiritual world knows your name again, not as one who was robbed, but as one who was reforged. This kind of return doesn't come with explanation, it comes with evidence. Unmistakable evidence. The blessings will speak. The breakthroughs will shout. The doors will open with your frequency encoded in them.